and I shall now make statements in my capacity as Minister of Foreign Affairs of Algeria. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim.
In the name of God, the most merciful, most compassionate, I would like to thank Mr. Ahmed Gate, Secretary General of the Arab League, and also Mr. Mohammed Khaled Khiari, Assistant Secretary General of the United Nations Organization. They have highlighted the reality of cooperation between the League of Arab States and the United Nations, as well as prospects for this cooperation. Strengthening cooperation and coordination and integration between our two organizations has become an absolute necessity because of several considerations that we cannot ignore. Firstly, in terms of figures, the situation is critical in more than a third of member states of the League of Arab States. And unfortunately, Arab states have become constantly on the agenda of the Security Council. Arab country concerns are the primary concern of the Security Council and remain matters that dominate the discussions of our Council. Secondly, in terms of the law, Chapter 8 of the United Nations Charter very clearly outlines the role of regional organizations in conflict settlement, those conflicts that take place in the geographical areas where the organizations operate. These regional organizations shoulder responsibility in terms of the maintenance of international peace and security, in line with the entire international community. Thirdly, and finally, in terms of logic, logic states that our organization and our council need to take into consideration recommendations put forward by those who are close to the areas of conflict, those who best understand conflicts and their complex nature, those people who are primarily affected by the impact of such conflicts. Based on this, Algeria would call for a bolstering of relations between the League of Arab States and the United Nations. My country, since it became a member of this council, has striven to be the spokes country for Arab countries. We reflect the concerns of Arab countries and we defend their positions and their stances, being loyal and being sincere at all times. We consider that this role is the bridge that joins our two organizations, a link that we wish to strengthen in coordination with the sisterly Republic of Somalia as the Arab member of the Security Council. We fully shoulder our responsibility through our belonging to our region, to our Arab region, and we undertake to defend the goals and principles based on which the United Nations organization was built. The quick and rapid developments in our region, they have dangerous repercussions. So I'm talking here about existential threats. I'm talking about those linked to our central cause, the cause of Palestine, also wars and conflicts that are in the entire Arab region. But also I'm talking about the increasing threat, those threats that face several Arab states, states that are affected in terms of their territorial integrity, the unity of their people, their sovereignty, and their right to self-expression. So given this situation, today, more than ever, we need a Arab-UN partnership, a partnership that is honest and effective. We also need a partnership where efforts are pooled. We also need a partnership that breathes renewed life into Arab diplomacy in terms of assisting the region. What we most of all expect from this partnership is that this partnership reaffirms the fact that shoring up peace and stability in the Middle East will help to, or is something that will stem from the settlement of the Palestinian question, and this in line with international law. The history, be this of many years ago or recent history of the region, proves that excluding this particular cause, Palestine, from regional equations just exacerbates tensions. And thus today we are finding ourselves at a historic moment in time. We need to make up for the mistakes of the past by making the most of the ceasefire agreement in Gaza so that a political process can be relaunched, one that promotes a just, lasting, and comprehensive, complete solution, namely the two-state solution, so broadly supported by the entire international community. Furthermore, we hope that this partnership between the League of Arab States and the UN, we hope that this will help to bring an end to the phenomenon of external interference in all the forms and manifestation, and make this question a top priority, because this really is a common factor in all of the crises in the Arab world, in Syria, in Libya, in Yemen and elsewhere. This interference is becoming the primary obstacle to all initiatives to find a lasting solution to crises and conflicts. These various different types of interventions threaten the very existence of the states affected. They're facing the threat of fragmentation and division. And this undermines how effective they can be. Finally, what we expect from this partnership is that it will help to bring an end to the political impasse of several crises in the Arab world. It is no longer acceptable, it is no longer reasonable, it is no longer normal and right that these processes have become deadlocked for several years without the United Nations or the League of Arab States being able to play key roles or to exert pressure to encourage dialogue and to resolve conflicts in a peaceful way. This is why we see today in Lebanon that concerted efforts were made between the League of Arab States and the United Nations. And the partnership of which I speak meant that in a definitive fashion an end could be brought to the Lebanese crisis that had been ongoing for several years. The same is true for our sisterly nation, Syria. Syria, that experienced great tragedy, undescribable tragedy indeed. This is why our organizations have to assist Syria. It's their responsibility so that peace can be reestablished throughout the entire country and that its full sovereignty can be restored. And so that its control over the whole of its territory can be restored as well. And that efforts can be made in order to reunite Syrian men and women focused on a national project that will be something that is worthy of Syria's great history and that meets the genuine aspirations of this brotherly country, aspirations for a better future. In the light of all these priorities, and whilst this year we commemorate the anniversary of the establishment of the League of Arab States, the 80th anniversary, we believe that we need to bolster more complementary relationship between our two organizations based on constructive dialogue, constant engagement, and based on an institutional framework that maintains the lasting nature of our organizations. We need to make the most of the comparative advantages of each organization, each of the two, and we need to put them to the service of peace and security at the international and regional levels. It goes without saying that the United Nations and the League of Arab States both need this complementary relationship in order to strengthen their influence. The Arab region desperately needs this complementary relationship so that once again opportunities can be created for peace, stability. The international system furthermore needs this complementary relationship. It represents the very raison d'etre of international multilateral action. Thank you very much.